What's good, everybody? Happy Monday to you. I hope you're all doing well out there. Had a good weekend. I had a busy one. When you've got an 8-year-old, you're busy. That's just what I've come to accept. Birthday parties, play dates, extra trips to Portland. All good stuff. Sunshine has come back here. I don't know if spring has arrived where you are yet, but if our early spring days have any indication of what's coming this year, I think it'll be pretty nice. Let's just base it all off of that. Let's see who's here. DJ Wolfmeister's here. How you doing, Wolfie? I think you were first this morning. Saffron, how are you doing, dude? Happy Monday to you. Javar is here. How you doing, Javar? Liv is here, of course. Hi, Boo. How you doing? So there's a question. The cedar pollen has sure arrived, right? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's just... I live in the trees here, so it's just constant pollen. You are disgruntled this Monday. We would much rather have you fully gruntled. Very underutilized word. I wish you were gruntled. Would you like to vent? Let's vent until you are gruntled. You would not like to vent. Okay. That's fair. Sometimes you just gotta Homer Simpson that shit, you know? You just keep it all locked up, bottle it up, until it turns into an extra bitter little ball that you can transform into music someday. That's fine. That's fine. It's okay. Would you like a duct then? Hi, Roku. How you doing, homie? A duct may be useful, right? Wouldn't that be cool if you could just be like, I'm about to flip my freaking lid right now. I'm just gonna... Psh. Ah, that's better. You'd crawl into it. Liv, that means you would be crawling further into yourself. We're like getting into John Malkovich territory here, I think. Yeah, something like that. Anyway. You need to see that movie. Yeah, it's a weird one. It's a weird one. Bez is here. How you doing? Just bottle everything and never share anything. Keep till the grave. Right? It's the whole... It builds character. Makes you stronger. Alright. So while we're all over here, like, chiseling our insides, or whatever that means, we're also going to... Where am I going here? I need my notepad here. And I'm also going to need binder. Close these. I have reached the point, you guys. I've reached the point where we've got a keeper set of 300 files. So I'm going to go ahead and say that's where we're stopping on this guy. 300 sounds. I'm going to close these other windows behind me so I'm no longer distracted by them. And next comes the really fun part of selling sounds. And that is giving each and every one of these 300 sounds a unique name. It's true. That actually happens. Let's move this over. Ooh, the John Locke movie on VHS, huh? Brother sold it. So, Saf, you were asking how these tracks are produced? These Cosmic Fields tracks? It's actually really simple. Well, it's a really long process if you're going to do this from scratch. But if you're like me and you've been bouncing drones for a really long time and pulses for a really long time, then you have tons and tons and tons of them lined up. And you can just grab them anytime you want. And that's what I do for these. So each one of these tracks ranges from, say, 4 to like 8 minutes or so. And the way you get the kind of spacey, lost adrift in space kind of feel is with drones. Now there's a blend of drones here. There's a baseline drone, which is giving you kind of the lower timbre character that's sustained through the entire thing. Then there's usually a mid-range one that's layered with that. It's been EQ'd so they can kind of fit together a little bit better in most cases. And then under that, or I should say on top of that, because those are the underlying elements. So if we turn this up a bit, you can hear this in each one of these. Now add to that over the top of it. So that's like our underpinning for the entire thing. And that would be really, really boring and monotonous if it was just those two long notes. So then added to that is a whole bunch of other drones and swells. And these are a mix of synthetic and orchestral elements. A lot of strings used in space stuff. I feel like there's a certain kind of quality to them. And then there's a pulse. Oftentimes there's more than one pulse in action at any one time, but they're being brought in at a really subtle level. So if we zoom in on this one really quick. So the pulse in most each one of these, there's for the most part in each one of these rather, is kept at a level where at times you might question if it's still there. Just kind of the magic of this whole thing, I think, because then that leaves room for all of these little swells, the tiny little things, whether they be textural or tonal. And then the other secret is to not add any additional reverb or anything to any of these sustained elements. So whatever I added to them when I first created them to kind of lock in the character of that drone, that's the entirety of the time-based effects in these. So, because otherwise everything would get really washed out and weird really quick. Rabbi Bez is cracking me up here in the chat saying, lately I've been thinking of gathering my loved ones by my bed before passing away and messing with them one last time. Like, before my last breath, just tell them, did you find the gold that I stashed in? And then just die. Oh, strings and tape loops. One does not need anything else, says Rokusai. Man, this right here. It's like a meditation right there. It's like I'm going to go sit and meditate for the next 40 years on that and make noise. Yeah, Wolfie is saying, I love the drones that Trent Reznor did for the original Quake. Rokusai says, speaking of Quake, I still need to replay the updated version on GOG. Yeah. So, Saf, I hope that helps you gain some insight into how to make these things. And now for something completely different. We're just going to name a whole bunch of stuff. So what I have not done is gone through the exhaustive effort of naming the type of burst or single shot of these futuristic weapons that I've made. I'm going to let the names kind of drive that for me. I've got these broken into different groups of types of names: single shots, rapid fire, um, abstract and experimental, heavy impact, exotic and tactical, burst fire and chain blasts. But in each one of these, it kind of breaks down with greater precision, like what these might be, right? So, single shot, there's precision, sniper, heavy blasters, railgun, plasma beams, machine blasters, plasma repeaters, gating pulse, railstorm. Right. So I used ChatGPT to help generate names that were actually unique because I needed a good 500 of them to get 300 of these name or files named. And I didn't want to rely upon AI to write any kind of description or anything for these things. But I described instead what I was creating and then told it to organize the names as they were being listed. And in doing so, it imparted my description of these weapons into these different kind of categories, if you will, just to kind of keep track of everything. The prompt that I gave it was kind of controlling in such that it was not able to reuse the same name or derive another name directly from it. It constantly had to keep using the same kind of name shifting game to complete all 500. So, in essence, what it's done for us is kind of put into text what we've largely not been able to put words to in regards to specifically what is this sound compared to this sound. They're very similar, but what could these two things be? Having a picture in front of us. So it's kind of a creative and helpful way to have a bot help you cut down, hours probably of time so you can stay competitive. Yes. Having been there before ChatGPT was a thing, and being here now, I can tell you with great certainty that that is a tedious thing. It is indeed. I've gone so far as to name entire libraries of sound in alien languages, and it's an undertaking. All right, what am I looking for here? I'm looking for this one, and I'm looking for this one. Should we go with single shots or bursts? Maybe we'll bounce around a little bit. These bursts are just going to be so fatiguing to me so quickly. Maybe we'll go with the one shots first. And then we'll come back to those bursts. So we got, give or take, we've got like 100 bursts and a couple hundred one shots to keep balance. You haven't heard Shakespeare till it's read in the original Klingon. Yeah. Ooh. It's like static. Yeah. Yeah, these names are actually pretty good. I'm going to increase the size of the text here, so you guys can see it as well a little bit better. All right. These are ridiculous names. Ridiculous. Love it. Ooh, Void Eradicator. Kinetic Requiem. Hypernova Shard. Vortex Obliterator. Zenith Shatter. Oh my goodness. It's great. All right, well, this is kind of like a thuddy kind of... broken thing. I'm going to knock out a couple of low-hanging fruit here. We'll call this one Static Discharge. Ooh. Ooh. What about we call this one a Phase Inverter? Ooh. This is definitely a plasma infraction. Definitely. Don't you agree? Plasma infraction. Serious? What is the keystroke for that? I need to know that. I don't want to click that many times. Give me just a second here. Oh, there is no... Dang it. There's no hotkey for strike through? That's ridiculous. How is there no hotkey? It's 2025. Ooh. Arc Warden. Yeah, this is stupid. Why can't I just have, and this can't just sit here. Can't just, no, I can't move that. That's silly. Okay, so now I just need to come up with a different thing. What can I do? I could just remove them from the list. That's what I could do. I could just delete them. Yeah, that's what I'll do. By default, it would be Command Shift plus. Oh, wait, hold on a second. Here, let me just undo that then really quick, and we'll see. It's Command Shift X. Yeah, it's not in notes, unfortunately. Dang it. All right. Well, you know what? We'll just delete them then. It's fine by me. We live in an ephemeral world, you know. Ooh, that's kind of like just a shot, you know. Come up here and. The Umbra Dart. Use Obsidian, write in Markdown, make life easier, cash out, win, problem. Oh yeah, duh. Why is my brain not working right today? Honestly, this is rather silly. All right, so. How can I do it? Oh, in text edit, I bet it is. Big fan of simple. I'm going to take this out for a minute. Let's just see. It's not the hotkey in here either. Okay, hold on a second. What am I just not using the right keys maybe? No. Oh, that definitely isn't it. Seriously? Although here I could just keep this open. Gosh, yeah, it's like, why is strike through just like no longer a concern or something? Weird. All right, well, got a solution in place at least. If I can get my window to resize properly, that is. Yeah, Markdown's awesome. Yeah, I use Notion all the time for project management stuff. I'm not sure why I don't use it in gaming workflow. I'm going to sit here and think about ways in which I can tweak this. All right, where was I? Where in our shots? Hmm. Yeah, that is true. That is true. I don't even need an external browser for the GPT stuff. That's a good point. What I want is for Claude or GPT to get to the point where I can take a fairly not fairly complex like naming string workflow like this and automate it. It's not that difficult, right? I mean, it's yeah. I need to spend more time. Yeah, just the like all the batch renaming stuff, like I can do that in seconds. I've gotten so good with the batch rename tool that I don't need any of the more robust ones, really. Um, but when it comes to adding the unique names at the end of the strings, that's when time becomes a thing. Yeah. Yeah. I have no idea what a zero phalanx is, but that's what this is. That's what this is. Yeah, I have no idea what that even is. Zero. Yeah, I have no idea. Void harpoon. Yeah. Seraph bolt. Yo, Dave. How you doing, homie? Yeah, the UI being friendly is actually pretty important when it comes to like sound design workflows. Because what I don't like is having to change tools again and again and again. I like this one. How about oh, Omega Claw. We'll call this one Omega Claw. There's so many similar sounds in here that we will have a chance to take a few swings at that type of sound. Helix Ember. How about... Let's hear this one again here. But a kinetic scalpel. How about that? Yeah, we'll call it that. I like this one. It's very, very classic. It's got a super kind of familiar feeling to it. Call this one a Quantum Lash. Titan Wraith. This is the type of weapon you do not want to hear turn on right behind you. You hear a wind up like that and you're like, oh man. My cells will not exist in a second. Let's call this one the Ion Ghost. Agreed. Agreed. If you already have Bitwig, then you don't really need the cable guy stuff as much as other folks. Unless you just want something that's like simpler plug and play. But I can't imagine that it's that difficult to set up the schemes in Bitwig. Plus, you have the ability to save presets as you create in there. So, yeah. It's hard not to just say, you know, roll your own. Plasma Talon. We'll call this one the Arc Phantom. Gravity splinter. Ooh, what happened to your face? Gravity splinter, man. It's the worst. Don't want to get shot in the face with a gravity splinter. Ooh. How about... Apex lacerator? Sure. Why not? All right, what's next here? Oh, this guy. Ooh, how about a... Entropy spasm? Sure. Yeah, why not? When was the last time you had a good entropy spasm? Did Bitwig update their UI? Hold on just a second. I need to deviate from my focus for a moment. Oh, yes, I have. Audi interface. What? Oh, audio interface 4/12 is classic complement. Let's watch the trailer here. Now that is interesting. I haven't actually wanted to buy a new interface in a while, but now that I see that, I'm like, well, that's pretty cool. The big knob can write automation as well. Really? So like it's interactive. So if I engage with something in the DAW, then I could just use that one universal wheel for whatever I've selected. Ah. That's some forward thinking. Yeah. Luke is asking, do I make songs? Do I rate them? Because there's so many. Do I rate like my own stuff? Like to keep track of it? Meh. I let other people figure out whatever kind of value they have in what I'm creating. That's why I put it all up into licensing, honestly. I vaguely remember the Novation thing. Oh, like, do we do feedback, Luke? Is that what you're asking? That's Fridays. that's Fridays. Although this week we're not going to have a stream on Wednesday or Friday. Just a quick reminder for everyone: no stream this week, Wednesday or Friday. But we will be back to our normal schedule, Monday, Wednesday, Friday next week. And every Friday we dedicate the entire stream to feedback. So, and you're absolutely welcome to swing by and drop a song any Friday. We just recommend coming in and getting it in early in the stream, because we get pretty busy on Fridays. A lot of good stuff coming through. How about a chrono amplifier? I have no idea. That one doesn't sound quite right. How about a... Ooh. Singe. A pulsar reverie. Oops. Ooh, Helix Severance. Yeah, okay, sure. I'll do that. We'll just do that here. Ooh. Ooh, this temporal singe fits this one quite nicely. We'll put that over here. Oops. Come back. There we go. Sure, that can be the Warlock Pulse. That sounds about right. Plasma Incursion, huh? Sure. We'll do that. Oh, we got a little heavy thing here, huh? About, what do we got here? Where's the heavy stuff? Give me some heavier ones. Here's some heavier ones. Ooh, Paradox Crater? Is that... Sure. Nah. We'll do a Quantum Collapse here. Roku says, I think the guy was searching via tags because you left feedback in it. Oh, I did, huh? Sorry about that, guys. Syndremic! How you doing, homie? You want a refund? Yeah, you should get a refund. You should speak to the manager and fill out a comment card before you leave today. It's no stream on Wednesday or Friday, so... Surprise, we're here today. You can have a cookie? Can I have a cookie too, Roku? What kind of cookies, by the way? Star Shatter Recoil? That's... dang. Chrono Cannon. Let's do a Chrono Cannon on this one here. Let me talk to the manager. Have words. Dutch cookie. Oh, never mind. Well, a certain green type of cookie that, you know, is very popular in... What's that one place where all the Dutch have, like... There's all these lights that are red and coffee shops full of smoke. I forget the name. Ooh. Okay. Sure, let's call that one the Ether Lance. Whoosh. That's just like a quick little guy, huh? Hmm. Something more precision here. Comet Stinger. That'll do. Oh. I think that's a xenopuncture. Pretty sure. Martin was shocked with how free Amsterdam is with its weed policy. It's like going to Portland. I jest, of course. Amsterdam is way more liberal and open-minded than Portland. They do have an industry built around it, after all. How about a phase piercer? How about that? We'll call this a phase piercer. Did I just cut that? I hope I cut that. Yep. Dave says, weed is great for the end of the night. Wouldn't recommend it for the start of the party, as it zonks everyone out. It's like only bring sativa to the party. That is just a nimble little guy here, huh? Let's call that the Neon Javelin. Yeah, why not? The Celestial Striker. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, yeah, let's get down into some heavier ones here. Boom. Yeah. We'll call this one the Void Eradicator. It seems pretty hefty. These comments do remind me of so many great party moments, Dave. Like I remember so I had this buddy that was always showing up to the parties and would bring these amazing nuggets with him, but he always brought stuff like based on the name, and ended up like very often ended up just laying people out. Yeah. Like, hey, who wants double stuffed Oreos? And then everyone on the couch is a double stuffed Oreo. Oh man, there is a magnification, an intensification that the cannabis brings to the alcohol. Huh? Ye old 1-2 punch. About the quantum rupture here. Ooh. Liv says, I have obtained bean tea to supplement my previous taurine tea because most problems can be solved with an excess of caffeine. There we go. There we go. Adjusting monocle. Yes, yes. Quite right. Quite right. Tally ho then. Maybe. Maybe, Zen. If you change your middle name to Caffeine, will you get free coffee at coffee shops? Maybe. Maybe. Shockwave implosion, if I've ever heard one. Oh. Um. Um. Not sure. Let's maybe a gravity reaver. And hope I'm in the right ballpark with that one. Mm-hmm. Maybe a warp conflux. This one seems like it might be a little confluxy and warpy. This guy, he's so tiny. We need a... This is a Helion dart right here. That's what this guy is. $141 sounded like a depressed bumblebee. Oh, man. I like that. Unstable. No. This is more like, try this again. Oops. No, this one. Just this one. Yeah. About a... What in the world is a warp spindle? Is that a warp spindle? That sounds like something that is actually part of something else. Like, I just hit that guy with a warp spindle if you don't have a weapon handy. Like, that'd take him out. Dave, you're a great human. Syndremic says, so they say there is far more future in sync than there will ever be in streaming, apparently. That's true? Because I pretend to do that. If by streaming you mean having your music played online through various apps, whatever, without someone having to pay for a download, then yes, you will never make much money in streaming compared to any type of licensing. Sync is just another form of licensing. It's just another way to say you can use this sound in this project of yours. Yeah. Yeah, Spotify and stuff. That's the way it works. Yeah. So what does it mean to have something in sync? Okay, so sync basically means that I have created a project and now I know what kind of music I want for that, and I'm going to put a request out to the creatives that make magic things happen with sound. And I will, with that request, I will put up a number, a monetary number that I am willing to reward that person for this piece of audio. So maybe it is a 3-second jingle or something, and they're going to pay you $800 for it. Or maybe it is a 2.5-minute modern hip hop with hybrid strings and a cinematic flair, right? And they would have 3 or 4 references for you, oftentimes, so you kind of get the gist without having to go back and ask questions. And then you have the option or the opportunity to submit content that you think is aligned with that, and other people do too, right? Now, whoever is awarded that sync fee, that prize money, gets their song put into that commercial or that scene in that television show or whatever, right? And then that is then reported, and that's it. That's how sync works. And then the competition in it nowadays is fairly fierce because it's been brought up into a more modern digital standard where more people have access to uh, these requests. Um, and there's actually like communities that have been built up around them. So if you wanted to be exposed to them, there are some that are run through Patreon, for instance, where you can pay like $5 a month or whatever, and then you get access to all of these sync requests. And then maybe for $10 a month instead, you get access to all those lists one day earlier or something like that, right? Uh, Competition being what it is, um, you're best to chase this stuff when you already have some content built, because you don't always have a big turnaround time available to you in these. Sometimes that request will stay open for a couple of weeks, and sometimes it'll just be for a couple of days or so. Blame it on Taylor. um, yeah, I like CDs still too, Saf. Liv says, so what happens to sync once AI becomes indistinguishable from humans? Well, what happens to any music once it becomes indistinguishable? Syndromic says, I just need connections for sync to someone in the new Blade Runner series you're doing. Thanks. Rokusai says, I would say so. Back in the day, I had friends who could make a living with purely 3/4 vinyl releases, or 3 or 4 vinyl releases a year. Putting your music out on Spotify and stuff only breaks even when you're a big, like, famous band. If you ain't big, you're not getting paid, basically. So yeah, sync is way more interesting for you guys, for guys like us. And honestly, hey, Sub Vince is here. What's up, dude? It's been a minute. How you doing? Um, Honestly, when you look at all the new updates to the clauses and contracts and terms and conditions of Spotify, you're not going to get paid ever by them. Ever. 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 Unless you're like one of the top performing artists on one of the big labels, with a big backlog of content. You're just not. You're just not ever going to get paid by them. They will find out. They will find ways to make sure that the stuff that their bots make for basically free will be paid, and that they will not pay humans. As cold and as stark and bleak as that sounds, it's true. Yeah, that is a good piece of advice there. Britboy is saying, "Cool, yeah, I listened to an interview on radio, and he was saying the secret sauce is to always specify a repeat fee. Yeah, so if they come back and they're wanting to use that again, that they indeed do need to pay another fee. Absolutely." Yeah, it's like, yeah, Liv, I hear you what you're saying. I mean, she used her own money to re-record several albums. I guess it depends on what you define as a dent and in what. Yeah, when you're a billionaire, I guess having to record a few albums, like you had to take a few weeks off from not making the same kind of money from streaming, but you made even more money from album sales. So yeah, I do. It's all, yeah. You can't judge it all by the outcome, but yeah, it's all pretty messed up. If she really wanted this to be fixed, it wouldn't have just been a matter of, and I'm not saying that she has the responsibility and must bear all of our woes and blah blah blah. I'm just saying that she has the ability to, with a flick of her wrist, if she wanted to, fix that for all of us, if she wanted to. Um, so, just saying. Liv says, the meta right now seems to be have a day job that you can use to financially drive your music endeavors, which has basically always been the case for almost all arts. Yeah. Like if you are a wicked artist, you might find yourself going, uh, and getting yourself a graphic design degree, you know what I mean, to punch a clock and earn a living making art still, like being adjacent to what you really want to be doing. Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's so true though. Like I mean, I grew up in a place where there was a lot of agriculture and not much appreciation for various art forms, and um, there were still people that were creative in ways, but they all had jobs at, like, and they weren't great jobs either, like McDonald's, gas station, grocery store, convenience store, because like where else are you going to work in that town? You know what I mean? Yeah. 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 Liv's point is absolutely true about how even Taylor got raked over and she's massive. So, of course, she has recourse, but it shouldn't be happening. Yeah. 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 The only time that I recommend people chasing this stuff is if they're willing to approach it through the lens of licensing. It really is. It's the only time that I've ever really felt comfortable guiding people in the direction of doing anything audio related for a living, right? Like if you want to be a creator, um, then find a way to be in the industry and live adjacently at the very least until you can get your feet under you, right? Because otherwise, you're doing exactly like what we were talking about, right? Helping people at the local store of whatever variety, um, and then that sucks up a lot of your time and energy and all that stuff. So the likelihood of you ever doing anything uh, is pretty low. But if you approach it all with the mindset of this is going to take some time and I'm going to start it with some simple portfolios, whether it be for sounds or for music, it's just from that point forward you just have to keep chipping away at it, which means you have to allow yourself the time for that, which means careful what you pick for the day job part, right? But if you have skill, like if you have really good skill and you hear from people that you trust and that have had success in the industry that you can do this, then you can do this. It's just a matter of sticking to it, um, and being real about what it is that you're doing, that you're selling things that are in demand. So you need to make things that you know where the demand is, and not the stuff that you really want to be selling instead. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, and so Liv says, I don't know, I think there's a lot of people who get into music that come from wealthy families and allow them to both drive their endeavors and not have to work. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Mm. Yeah, no, see, Britboy, that's not crazy. So I'm going to read this from Britboy in the chat, and I want you all to take notice of this because this is the same conversation I'm constantly having with all sorts of people behind the scenes. Britboy saying, bizarrely, I'm thinking about programming a puzzle game and making it free as a way of getting my music in front of people. That's not crazy. It's not. I think there are a few conversations a week where I am basically saying the same thing that I say each week, but to different people. And that is, you need to start thinking about your music as something that is part of a larger offering. It is the perhaps most attractive thing that you might have um, for sale or for offer. But people, by and large, don't buy music. And if they did, you're not going to see that money come directly to you. Unless, of course, you have a way to get the general public to you, right? If you have a way to get the general public to you without driving it through means of expensive marketing and advertising, then by all means, just keep doing what you're doing. But otherwise, you have to figure out a way in which a vehicle to drive your sounds to the people, right? Because the people are not coming to your sounds. So, and that really is the way that we have to operate. You have to meet people where they are, right? So if listening to things on Spotify will never actually result in dollars for you, it doesn't mean that you actually have to take your stuff off of Spotify. You do have to kind of question why you have your stuff there in the first place, though, because it is benefiting them, but it's not benefiting you, which doesn't seem very good. But YouTube will pay you ad revenue if you have enough people coming through, right? It might take you a little while to get 1,000 people coming through or whatever, but that can happen, right? And then you have a place that is yours, basically, and you're getting a very, very, very small part of that pie, but you're getting a tiny little thing. The thing that it does for you, though, is it gives you a way to get your stuff into the Content ID system. Now, here is part of where you can start to make a little bit of money. And if you make your stuff available for other people to use, you can actually earn a little bit of money from that. It doesn't even actually have to be through the sales of a license. You can make your stuff available freely and then collect money on the back end, right? It's about a value prop for people. What are they getting out of this? So in this situation where BritBoy's thinking about making a game, it's like, yeah, that's great. I would keep going back to that game and playing the game because the music is so entrancing. You know what I mean? It's like there's this quality of experience, of overall experience, and audio as an experiential element is vastly outpowering anything else you put in front of people. You can put visuals in front of people with horrible audio or the wrong audio, and they will be underwhelmed. But if you combine great visuals and great audio, it is transcending. It is, it's game changing, and people flock to it, and they will talk about it and share it. Yeah. Roku says, I DJ'd for a living for more than 12 years. It sucked because I'm not talking about events, but being resident in clubs, it's a low appreciated job, but it kept me in the business network wise. If I purely tried to live from the income of releases and gigs external, besides being a resident, I wouldn't make it. Yeah, there's only a few people that would, really. It's really what it comes down to. And okay, so now Zimtronic is saying, so make stock sounds and music because there's so much of it out there, though. And then, but how do you people, or how do you get people to the game? Yeah, exactly. So, but here's the rub. If you put your stuff up onto YouTube, that's a destination. If you put your stuff up into the App Store, in a game or a relaxation app or a meditation app or whatever, that's a destination. People are going there with the intention to digest that very thing. So now it's just a matter of, can yours have an experience that is different from others, different enough for it to actually stay on the device for a while? You know what I mean? Because that's really what it comes down to, is people's attention. Can you grab their attention? If so, for how long? Can you get it again? And again, maybe? And maybe even again. So, if you have a way to continually add something to an app, then that's a brilliant vehicle for audio. If you make it a free app with ads, but also stellar audio, and then you offer people the ability to take away those ads for 99 cents or whatever it is. Now, every convert you get $1. Okay, so how much do you actually need to be making for that to be like a moneymaker or something, right? You could parlay that same concept into different things, right? So it could be the same library of music or sounds used multiple times over multiple apps, and then it starts to make some sense. You could make it a subscription-based thing, right? Where you get new music and new whatevers continually if you subscribe for $1 a month or whatever, right? So there are ways in which you can make a vehicle or something, right? It's like if you're in the condiment business, right? You make ketchup or spicy chili crisp or whatever it is. Like, people don't just sit down and eat a bowl of ketchup or spicy chili crisp or sesame seeds, right? They like put that on top of something. So this is just kind of akin to thinking in that mode, really, right? And imagining, like, where is sound? Where do people expect sound? What is their experience with that sound right now? Can I do better? And then, is that actually a decent, like, and legitimate, realistic infiltration point? Like, and can I actually exploit it continually? Like, is it sustainable? Yeah. Roku says, yeah, plus the quality of the games industry is quite low right now. So my guess is that if you make something quality wise that is memorable, you'll leave a mark. So I bet you have more chance to break in the game industry than in the music industry. Look how well some of the indie games are doing compared to the AAA games. There is defo a gap that is open for grabs right now with a huge desire for quality experiences. Yeah, right? We think that video games have come so far, right, because of like these huge games, but there's only so many teams putting out the really high quality experiences. But the people putting out the lower quality experiences, like they have really good stories to tell. And just imagine if they could get their hands on a couple of collaborators that could help them elevate their game. You know what I mean? Now you become indispensable for any future production or collaboration, right? That's how you can quickly become part of an industry, is collaborating with someone that has a real need. Yeah. Don't we all need someone to lend us a small little 5 million or so? Yeah. Zin says, I'm learning 3D right now, then Unreal Engine probably. I've been learning 3D for a while, but I'm still at it. Yeah, it's a good space to be moving into. I mean, sure, it would have been great to get there, a few years ago, but it's pretty silly to think that you're locked out of the opportunity since you didn't get in a few years ago. You got to think more forwardly than that. Um, Everything is going in that direction, so it's a good direction to go in. Yeah. Ooh, this guy. Is that a shadow quill? I have no idea, but it might be a shadow quill. I've never heard of such a thing. Oh, well then, this guy. Well, we'll call this a warp needle, I think. You guys are great. We'll call this one a pulsar blade. Whoa. That's a singularity bombard. Maybe we could just see, what does this sound like? Yeah, sure. Why not? A rift stiletto. Okay. Ooh, I like this one. But a kinetic disruptor. Hmm. Roku says, no, but seriously, that is why my album is going as slow as it is, because it's only the soundtrack for something way bigger. I've been working on it for a few years already, but I only feel like just getting started if I have to do it all alone. Just a small budget of, let's say, 100,000 would jumpstart the process. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if we took seriously uh, the benefits? Like if we see literally like trillions of dollars justified by research and development into certain things, but that is simply a justification process for money to be spent in many cases in our world. Can you imagine if the arts were taken as seriously as just one of those, and what kind of trickle down impact that would have, right? Because we all know how it works. Like one person's great idea like sparks 100 ideas in this other person's head, and that causes a whole new way of doing something in the industry. You know, um, yeah, it's incredible to me that we don't have more value placed on things that are just mentally expansive and um, abstract enough for things to be tickled into excitement. Yeah. Yeah. Zin is saying, yeah, I was going to wait for my skills to be good enough in 3D to start building my MMO and not release my music till then, but decided I'm going to release music now with simple art since I'm going to be here building this for the next 20 years. Well, yeah, and there's also a continuity to all of this, and how are you ever going to build a community around you that appreciates everything that's happening if you're not sharing what's happening, right? So, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Rokusai saying, "OhmLab, yeah, that it is what happened with the poetry night I set up with some friends here in Holland. It's how it is now the biggest stage for poetry in the country, just because some people with great ideas came together that realized they needed each other. Yeah, that is just exactly it. Yeah, it's like, if Steve had never reached out to me and said, "Hey, you want to make some tutorials for Massive in a place where everyone can kind of like see them all in one place." Like if we had never started that effort with the massivesynth.com, we never would have built ADSR. And if ADSR had never been built, then we never would have seen, Splice pop up the way that it did and whatnot. There was already a system in place, There had been no proof. It had been talked about. What if we gave a marketplace, an open marketplace, to people who actually make the emerging music instead of just relying entirely upon the people that have proven themselves in existing genres or whatever? And now we look at that as like a no-brainer. Like, oh yeah, of course the people that are making the innovative new music should be putting stuff out there for other people to play with. Of course. Of course. Of course. Of course. Yeah, it's true though. You do have to build it. All it takes is some like-minded folks gathering around it, feeling really engaged. They become evangelized. Share it with others. Then it quickly gets away from you. You can move on to something else. I seem to be questioning whether or not I used that one. I did not. Okay. Go. Infinity dart? Sure, we'll call it an infinity dart. Yes, okay. We'll call this one a stasis dart. A couple of darts. Is this one? Something kind of heavy and deep, right? Ooh. Ooh. The Void Warden. My goodness. Yeah, that's me and my endeavors in a nutshell. Roku's saying, yeah, the best projects are the ones you don't want to revisit anymore because you feel like you finished it and moved on. And then the community wants you for what you did and not what you do. Yeah, yeah. Kind of funny that way. Indeed. Ooh, about the Echo Scythe. Whoa. We'll call this one the Chaos Singe. Oops, what did I just do there? Go. Thank goodness for undo. I'd be a complete disaster without undo. How about a plasma relic? This sounds like the name of something classic, doesn't it? Syndromic says, why isn't there a SoundCloud, Patreon, Bandcamp, Printful, and Threads that cohesively work together as a social network, but also a marketplace and even a licensing module where people can license art, music, and stuff, but make it artist-focused and not sell-focused, make it a pleasant experience rather than a cheap hotel where you're likely to catch shingles and bed bugs. Yeah. Yeah, we are talking about something like that. I'm on the cusp of releasing this new marketplace with ADD for sound design, and there's big plans with that. And it is a maker space. It is a maker space, and it will be a selling space for people. But and we also did design and half build, more than half build for a couple of years, an entire social network for this stuff, which it's a lot. It's a lot. There are huge upsides to it. And then there are also what I kind of found to be these somewhat inevitable pitfalls where um, you often find like gimmicks, like gimmickiness, like I don't know. I envision something a little bit more decentralized and a little less dependent. Um, like I would love for people to be engaging with this future marketplace space through APIs in a variety of ways. So it could be accessed through a bunch of different types of communities, right? Through different types of portals, right? Like maybe through Discord servers and websites, and allowing different groups of people to be in communities that they feel very comfortable with and that they can thrive in, and yet also access the tools, resources, and goods of the larger marketplace, right? Um, yeah, there are certain things to these social destinations that I think are um, hmm, they're so flawed. They're so flawed that they risk ruining the entirety of everything you're attempting to do. And it really, unfortunately, it really does just have to do with having um, certain types of people in a shared space. It really does. And I'm not saying it's all on the front end. Some of it is on the back end too, about development and roadmaps and then functionality and architecture and like how all of these different things play out. They involve so many different human elements along the way, that because it is a social destination, that all of those worries and concerns and everything, like they're all valid, and it makes it so much harder to move forward with so many different things. And then adding to that just the ability or the the responsibility of having to maintain everything and keep everything super compatible and have it all be pushed forward. It's like taking your eyes off the prize almost, really, right? Um, yeah, it almost seems better to move a bit more towards simplicity, um, and take out some of that gunk that it's hard for us to even think about, um, things differently oftentimes, right? When we think about how would we make a DAW different or how would we improve upon the DAW, my mind immediately goes to these really drastic, kind of extreme things, right? Shocking things. And when I ask other people, they're like, oh, yeah, I would add a button right here that would do this. And I'm like, so you would basically keep everything the same. Like you really do like kind of working with tape then, like in the tape era. There are so many different mindsets when it comes to all of these things that I kind of feel like we're reaching this point where more things need to be modular in approach. So then people can be met where they are at more often, right? Um, there's just so many people that don't want, a lot of the bells and whistles that other people want. Um, and I think that by and large, unfortunately, that means the end of an empire so oftentimes. And if we could have, the creators that are the fuel for a lot of those platforms and services and tools, if we could have them unaffected during all that tumultuous up and down stuff, like that'd be great. That'd be great. So I personally, I want to build something that is a little bit more, not sea change proof, but maybe just that. Maybe more largely aware of or more aware of the larger sea at large, and not just the individual ports that people are concerned about in their neck of the woods around that sea. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, because money. Yeah, so Syndremic, this is exactly what we have built, and we did build, and other people have built this too. And unfortunately, when it's just creatives, then it becomes, well, we've seen it, right? We've seen it with like Behance and other things. People have tried it. It always ends up going in a direction that is just bad for the overall thing. Yeah. But you'll always need some kind of central hub to point to these decentralized places. Yeah, and I think that's where the marketplace kind of makes sense, right? If you think about it like this, like Disco. Are you familiar with Disco? It's a place where we can all have a place. It's kind of like SoundCloud, right? But it is a place where you can have your stuff available for download, for purchase, right? And now it's up to you how you share your links or whatever. It's kind of like that. Um, so much more of this will make sense when, this next marketplace is online. I can share some of the details with you guys about how it will work and stuff. Like if we go and we actually look at, um, some of the functionality in here, you can start to kind of wrap your mind around why a marketplace and robust APIs would be really good to be kind of, a hub for a decentralized, larger community. Or rather, other communities could plug into this main online hub. So, like for instance, you can use like this similar search, right? Let's say I really like this ending right here, and I want to find stuff that's just like it. So I can click this find similar, and now everything that's here in front of me is like what I'm looking for, right? Or what if I'm new to um, trying to find the right sound for something that I'm working on, right? Well, maybe I could just upload a picture of what I'm working on, or maybe even a video clip of what I'm working on. Or maybe the keywords that are used in the assets that I've created in my project, maybe I could put those in. And in our marketplace, all of those ideas would work. All of those things would give you quality results in our marketplace, right? So there's a lot of just underlying technology and underpinnings that are really great, right? That other people could find a lot of really good uses. The fact that we've got all of this metadata embedded in all of our files, like intensity and complexity and mood and genre and BPM and key, those are different parameters that other people can use in apps and websites, audio players, all sorts of different things. Um, and then you add to that the ability to have all of your associated files being managed in a Dropbox like drive system that you can expand upon and is fully secure and you can collaborate with people through. Um, yeah, there's just so many different things, right, that can make uh, a simple destination like a marketplace a really neat tool that everyone can kind of plug into and benefit from. Okay, so this is, you're asking about the similar search. That one is actually looking at what we would call a fingerprint of each one. So it's making like a spectrogram of each thing, and it's basing it upon that. That's what the find similar button does. But if you were to search in here, what you're doing is you're actually searching and getting results based upon metadata. So you're kind of triangulating in from multiple different angles on what you're wanting. Your filter controls can be engaged with after you've already run a query, right? So you can say, hey, I'm looking for this type of sound, and then you could make it more specific, like, okay, specifically sound design, not sound effect, or specifically in the key of D, or specifically something for horror or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, subvids. Yeah. So yeah, we got to tackle the whole we got to tackle sync. I think sync is the next area to truly democratize. I think that right now what we have is a pseudo democratized landscape that people are exploiting um, in very similar ways in which it was being exploited before with a whole lot of gatekeeping and stuff. And what I think it should be, if you could just imagine this, built on the backbone of a marketplace like this that anyone can approach as a creator. You see where this is going very quickly, right? You could very easily have a destination with the largest number of content creators ever assembled, right? And having a fair swing at the same content opportunities, right? But everything reaching them kind of based upon the contributions that we're all aware of to that point, right? Yeah. Sink, the rest of the kitchen too. Yeah, it's. I mean, There's a lot to take on, but the problem is that if you put it all in one place, all in one interface for people, then it's going to be too much for most people. It's just going to be too overwhelming for most people. You need to let people get in and out with what they need. That's why I think having something more decentralized is pretty intelligent for the future of this, because um, these things are huge behemoths, and you and your community have filled a niche, and you may only need 10% of what we offer. And if you could eliminate the 90% that you don't, then all of a sudden you feel like there's something that's really great and built just for your specific needs, and that's when things start to feel great. You will use my kick. We have 8 kicks here. You will use them. But then you add to that the fact that this is right down to its very cellular makeup. This is a marketplace for sound design. This is not ADSR. This is not Splice. So, and it's not Envato, right? So like when the licensing stuff kicks in, it'll be different. And when sync kicks in, it'll be different. Yeah. All right, where were we with these names here? Pew, pew, pew. That's where we were with these names here. Pew, pew, pew. I'm going to turn up this background music and I'm going to go hit the bathroom and I'll be right back. I'm back. Hey, welcome in, Pipsqueak. That is a great name. Syndremic is asking, what does your typical day look like as a sound designer, OhmLab? Well, it's a good question. It depends on what I'm working on. What I would say is that each day is just a little bit different, and it's also mostly the same in that I know that I'm going to be working on one of a handful of projects, and I've kind of built my days this way on purpose because I feel so very strongly that if you're not chasing inspiration or working from a point of inspiration, then your content is not going to feel inspired, and all that stuff translates is what I'm trying to say. So if I hit a wall of any kind, whether it be productivity related or inspiration related, whatever, I can quickly then just pivot to something else, and I don't have to feel like my whole day is derailed because of it. So there's that. I juggle a few different clients. Primarily the same ones, and I then also keep myself committed to a big project as well. Like for the past few years, it's been Audio Design Desk and all of the tools wrapped up in that ecosystem, right? Prior to that, I had spent a couple years down in the Bay Area building the mentorship network for PeerMind. And prior to that, I had just finished launching Sound Freaks right on the heels of building ADSR and the Creating Network. And yeah, so I've had these different little things, or little, they're actually very large projects that involve other people. And in my opinion, they need to happen, right? There are things that need to be in place for us to secure the longevity, the future of our crafts, right? Of our industry at large, and or industries at large, right? And then also you have to protect the crafts as well, right? Like how are the sounds actually made, not using those easy buttons and those shortcuts, right? Understanding the just kind of the importance of all of the underlying core sets of knowledge, skill sets, that type of thing. And then there's the fact that I operate in for both screen and speaker, right? So here's how I divvy it up. First thing in the morning, I check in on reports. Okay, I check in on sales. I check in on query trends to see what people are actually searching, and then how well are their needs being met. And that allows me to keep my finger on the pulse of the sound design landscape at large. And we're talking from a licensing perspective. This is end users looking for specific pieces of content, and they are either finding it or not finding it. And I want to know how much and where and when and why and how. The next thing I do is I take a look at emails and then Slack, and then I jump into morning calls. Morning calls are touching base with folks that are currently working on development of things, by and large. After morning calls are wrapped, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I take a break, and I'm with you guys for a few hours. Now, in that time, the stuff that I work on is over the last year or so has been a bit more ghost hack stuff, I feel. The year prior to that, I think, was probably a little bit more production library oriented, so Audio Design Desk and that library. The year before, I try to change it up, so it's not always just kind of sitting with the same type of stuff. But there's always multiple different types of things in the production queue, right? So there's always some sort of cinematic sound design in the queue. There's probably some sort of sci-fi sound design in the queue. There's probably some sort of music-related sound design in the queue, whether that be elements for a larger, construction kit type production, right? Where I'm putting out a whole bunch of loops of some kind, or whether it be one-shots or whatnot. That varies. All of that varies. So and the way that I continually keep all of that going and make it sustainable is by creating series. So I've established myself as someone that can make a great many types of things, and I can do it all at a pretty good quality, and people tend to vibe with it. So I tend to sell that idea that people will continue to vibe with it. So let's make this a series, because why would you want to stop earning from this idea? So sell people on the idea of an idea, not a specific sound or sound pack. That's the first thing. And then you just divvy up your day. I tend to operate a bit during the day and at night. I've got a kid that needs to be picked up from school and fed dinner and put to bed and all that kind of stuff. So I will usually clock out depending upon the day. Like if I need to go pick him up, it'll be midday. If not, around 5. And then I'll clock back in. I'll clock back in at like 10 or so, and I'll work for a couple hours on stuff that's more creative, stuff that I'm not going to do online, like on stream. And some stuff is less creative, like super mundane, like naming files and stuff. Like that's typically something that I would not normally do on a stream. But you guys are awesome. And on Mondays, we've decided that now we're going to be doing more like conversation stuff. So I figured naming files on a Monday is pretty good. And then there's a lot of private like sessions and mentorship and calls with folks in the afternoons. So like after live streams happen, it's a short list of folks that I still do sessions with right now, and unfortunately, most of them have to wait quite a while between sessions. But those sessions do happen regularly on my end. So there you have it. There it is. It's like reports and admin in the morning, and then meetings with folks in different time zones, and then after that, it's some production stuff, checking in with you guys, and then after that, it's more production and private calls and sessions with other folks. So, a good 35% of every day at least is dedicated to other people's stuff, I'd say. Something like that. Keep it all going. Rokusai is saying, OhmLab, I wonder how national licensing organizations are going to deal with this. Like in my case, UMA, Stemra, Netherlands, because they can barely keep track of what's going on in the music industry as we speak, let alone opening doors for a whole bunch of decentralized samples being used. Don't know how that is for ASCAP for you guys. A lot of artists I know never learned how to deal with this stuff. Like a bridge needs to be made around copyright law that actually protects the artist more. Exactly. That's exactly why there needs to be a new marketplace with new license types, and it needs to be the central hub. And other things, like it can be the heart and soul of a new decentralized future, right? And there could be so many branches that are spitting off this. Think about this. Distribution, all flowing in here. But you know what happens when it all flows in here? Metadata tagging. And as soon as the metadata tagging happens, like so much of the abuse and missteps that occur in the current systems, like those become kind of a thing of the past. What's tricky is AI and sample packs. Now for music for speaker, like this is a big problem, right? You can't use splice stuff and claim stuff in content ID, right? Which means as a creator of music, you're not ever really able to cash in on a lot of what other people are cashing in on that make everything from scratch themselves, right? So there's that. There's also the fact that a lot of people remix and make very derivative stuff. Like that doesn't help. That's the problem with the future. When it comes to sound design and music for sync, a lot of that stuff falls outside of these realms currently. And it's going to get really, really muddy here very, very quickly with AI, because the quality of AI is about to upsample again. And then it's going to be kind of game over in regards to being able to tell with a human ear whether or not something was produced with AI or as a human. This will come into play with copyright law, and like what Roku's saying, we're winding this back around to the whole fact that, so many of these laws that we think about in our industry are by and large being propped up by white folks in the UK and the US, and then, like that's the standard. That's just not going to fly anymore, and it hasn't been flying anymore. And if you look at the big players in the game most recently, you're looking at Epidemic Sound, you're looking at Artlist.io, you're looking at these subscription libraries that either whitelist or blacklist your ability to have content used in the Content ID system on YouTube. Because by and large, if you make something that has visuals, it's going to end up on YouTube. Just the way it is. So the workaround in all of this, the thing that will make all of this actually work, is a new paradigm. It's just as simple as that. It's a new type. It's a new type of license that is universal. And then also there are usage rules for those in the enterprise and broadcast hierarchies of the industry. They need to be dealt with completely differently and separately than the people making stuff in explainer videos for YouTube or TikTok videos or clips being uploaded to Instagram, or all of that stuff needs to be policed completely differently than the stuff in the broadcast systems. That said, that said, that said, the platforms themselves, like TikTok or Instagram, I think those platforms can participate in this a bit differently too. I think that they can actually absorb some of the cost. I think the creators need to be compensated. I mean, Web3 is coming. Whether people are going to call it that or not, it's coming, and there will be compensation for people in a variety of ways. But I think that, yeah, we need something that's decentralized, and that's something that is universal and not specific to any one region of the world, or else it will be easily swayed by the people that already have a great deal of power and control in the current landscapes, and I don't think that's what we need. Jacques is here. Sorry, I'm a little behind on the chat, guys. How you doing, Jacques? Pixsqueeze says, if you're a literal OhmLab, you must be producing literal impedance. There must be some true resistance, but how much resistance? Could we incorporate this into a capacitor battery and have a shit ton of energy storage over a long period of time? Let's talk about it, right? If we all fund it together, we could turn the OhmLab energy capacitator into an infomercial product. Let's talk about it. That's awesome. If we are constantly creating stuff, and that creating of stuff is turning a little wheel, charging a battery, are you saying that our creative efforts will charge a battery that everyone else can draw from? Because if so, let's make that happen. We will be the new sun. Forget solar panels. People will be installing some Roku panels soon. The infinite half-time capacitator with an infinitely large voltage and amperage hold. Oh, I'm glad that I did not catch this all in real time, because now I'm able to scroll through all at once and see everyone's reactions to this. This is great. Syndromic says, does it ever get overwhelmed bouncing between so many things, or is it fairly predictive? Yeah. So yeah, it is easy to overload yourself. Like, think about the first time you went to an all-you-can-eat buffet. You probably put way too much stuff on your plate, right? And you probably did that like the 6th, 7th, and 8th time you went too, even though you knew that it was like too much even when you were doing it. So it takes a little bit of time to get some governance in place, some guardrails in place. It's true. Zin says, always been curious how one builds a following or an image as a sound designer. Sounds like a networking game. Well, it kind of is a networking game in any business to become known or to have a reputation in any business. It kind of is just a networking game in that your name needs to be associated with good outcomes. You know what I mean? If your name is associated with bad outcomes, there's no future. But then I think the rest of it isn't necessarily networking as it is relationship management. Like, if you work with me, and I think that if anyone was tuned in right now that was in a business relationship with me, they'd be quick to chime in and say, yeah, that's true. I decided a very long time ago that I would never have two faces in business, right? So the tone of my voice, the way I speak, the way in which I teach, my reactions to things, these are all the same in my living room as they are in here, or as they are in some fancy boardroom or something. So that's one. That's the first thing. And then the second thing is that I understand that there's a lot of people making widgets out there. Zendremic, you made the comment earlier. It's like, okay, so fine. So you want me to make stock sounds and music, but isn't there a ton of that out there already? Here's the point to it, is that business is about relationships. You and I both make widgets, but if I'm a jerk and I rub people the wrong way, and you're super awesome and you deliver stuff on time that's really great, then why would anyone ever work with me once they discover you, right? It might be a slow grind for them to discover you over time, but it'll happen, right? Or maybe you're clever about putting shiny things out around your things and attracting attention, and it won't be a slow grind. But really, at the end of the day, it's going to come down to a relationship, right? And you can look at how a transaction is completed online without a face-to-face experience as part of a relationship management thing, right? It all kind of extends through the entire like customer experience. So if I'm a jerk during a faceless transaction online, based upon how the experience was, like how much thought and effort was put forth into making that great for you versus me. You know what I mean? Was the price in your favor? Were the fees covered by me, or did you have to cover those too? Or you know what I mean? Like, did you have to go looking for these things, or were they put right there up on the surface for you? Would you go through that hassle again? Hopefully, my relationship management skills are such that you would look forward to doing it again with me. So that's really it. Like if I think an idea or a project is worth protecting and worth doing again, then I'm going to double down on the effort with the relationship, not with the product. The product, I'm going to put forth that much effort no matter what, because that's just who I am. But the relationship matters. And if I now want this product series to continue or whatever it is, I'm going to learn all about that person's kids, what their hobbies are, when their birthdays are, how their last business ended, when is their wedding anniversary if they have one, right? Where are they all going on their next family vacation or whatever? Like those things are all super important. If one of them has been sick, follow up with them in a few days, ask them if they're feeling better. Not around a deadline. You know what I mean? So those are the things, and then I don't have to worry about being overwhelmed as much, right? Because I don't have to keep as many projects on my plate as much, because I don't have to worry about as many things falling off my desk. Like, what if this person never comes back and does business with me again? I would need to replace that in my book of business, so I better do that now to future-proof. You know what I mean? So there's this constant hustle and grind when you don't have good relationships, and when you do have good relationships, you don't have to feel as much hustle and grind. So hope that helps answer that. Let's be the new sun. Matrix confirmed. Interlinked cells. Yes. Yes. Here, just plug this tube into the back of your neck. Wait, what am I doing here? Are you sure we're supposed to do this? You feel the dial-up tone in your nervous system. Oh. Zen, you know what? It's actually not peeply and talky. Almost everything is done over email these days. In regards to what's coming next. I have kind of an open door policy with video calls with people that I work directly with. So if like you're like an employee, like if you're like a coworker or something like that, just like climb right on in. Like it'd be like sitting down in a chair in my office and we can just talk while I'm working or whatever. But then yeah, everything else is basically just hands off. Like I do not even look at my email over the weekend. You're gonna have to wait. If my kids got extra days off of school, you're going to wait. So there's a lot of hands off. There's a lot of hands off and not too peeply and talky, which is really nice. And I think it's good for them too, because then you don't have to feel like there's any kind of awkwardness or weirdness about like when you got to like get back in touch with them or whatever, right? Like, oh, it's been so long. It's been 6 days since I've been in touch or whatever. And it's like, yeah, whatever. We're all family. Zin says, a video call with me would be so uncomfortable. I only whisper to speak. So, yeah, and a lot of people would just be like, I feel so uncomfortable in this call right now, right? Yeah, so for you, I bet, like, it would probably just be Slack, man. Like, Slack is so great. Slack and Notion are great. Slack and Notion are awesome. Calming though, I'm told. Yeah, I bet. I bet it is. Because you're calm all the time, right? Yeah. That's the way that goes. Pew. Pew. Let's get back to some naming and some things. I don't know what this one is. It's very simple. Maybe we'll go back up to the top for this one. Spectre Prism. Nah. Inferno Shard. Is it hot? It could be hot. We'll call it an Inferno Shard. I'm going to check these ones that I've named really quick and see. Yep, there's one right there. There's a couple in here with an errant space in there. Finder has a knack of allowing an extra space character to be allowed in sometimes. Found 4 of them. Just like that. I don't like typos and weird spaces in my files, so. I feel like people pay me to deliver stuff, not deliver stuff multiple times because it was full of mistakes. Rokusai says, same. I prefer staying in my bubble. I only talk to people I feel comfortable with, hence I don't have a massive social media presence, which made me lose some clients a couple of times because they think you're fake. That's true. That's true. Like all this stuff is so real. But you know, like at the end of the day, when it comes right down to it, know yourself. Know how you operate and then operate within those means and deviate from it when you absolutely need to, not because other people want you to or you feel like maybe people want you to, you know? Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, this one. Is that an Ion Harbinger or is that an Exo Reaper? How about an Exo Reaper? A Nebula arrow, you say? Yeah, I agree. What's this one? Oh. That was rather bursty. Plasma Jettison? Zen says, I don't think social media or chats like this. I don't mind social media or chats like this. I don't really like jumping into DMs or anything personal. Javar says, I only talk with people that like pineapple on their pizza and that bring me pizza. Hint, hint, hint. Got to include your address there to get the pizza. I like that. Pff, whatever, you're not real. I only talk to real guys. Yep, I think we'd all get along great while eating the pineapple pizza. We'll probably leave after, though. Yeah. we all look at each other awkwardly like, it's good pineapple. I'll see you guys on stream. Bye. Yeah. So basically what you're saying is if we were to call a meeting and assemble our squad in Minecraft, you'd be okay with it. And that's kind of as real as it's going to get. Ion Harbinger. Oh. Phantom coil. See, just like that. You come out and you're like, hey, this is me. This is just genuine me. And then we talk about it for a minute. We chuckle a little bit because it feels good to chuckle about that kind of stuff. And then we decide, okay, so all future meetings will be held in Minecraft. And then we just move on. Just like that. Okay, question. And this is kind of a serious question. If there was a platform, a label, or whatever that did represent a bunch of folks that weren't all that comfortable out in the real world, wouldn't it be an interesting kind of like meet and greet opportunity for people to be introduced to artists, just to be like given an invite to a Minecraft event where you'd like show up in this really cool looking Minecraft village and you can walk into these little spaces, each one kind of decorated and designed by that artist. And in that space, you could have like, I know this is very Second Life sounding, right? But in that space, you could like have some stuff playing or whatever. Kind of cool. I don't think you can actually do that in Minecraft though, right? Yeah, it is Second Life, right? I like Minecraft. I think everyone likes Minecraft that's actually played it. I bet if you put a bunch of people in a room and someone said, I like Minecraft, it would be like the wave. It would cause a ripple of people saying, I like Minecraft too. And the more people that admitted liking Minecraft in a big room of people, the more solidarity and community there would be, until eventually almost everyone in the room would be like, I love Minecraft. Elite Dangerous is your new Minecraft. What about this quantum shear? How about that for a good one here? Oh. Okay. Well, you know. Tempest Cycler. I see you. Feels like a tempest to me. Syndromic says they should not have sold their Evolved platform. They should have created a Second Life 2, but then they sold it to Music Studio. I think they likely trashed it. It was sad. Yeah. Asheron's Call, the first MMO I ever played, had public meeting space instances your guild could use, and there was whiteboard functionality among other things. You could also say you were late for the meeting because a monster attacked you. So there's that. That's fantastic. That's a fantastic thing. Heyo, there you go. Zen says, if someone was willing to invest a few million, I'd be happy to learn Unreal Engine and build the future evolution of Second Life where future work will happen. Yeah, there have been a few folks that have tried to make it happen. Yeah. I don't know what name. Welcome in. I see you lurking over there. How you doing? STP says Illmind tried to create a VR producer site where producers could have their own avatars and artists could collab. Yeah. Yeah. We're mostly talking right now. I don't know a name for. I am slowly naming files. This is I'm not sure exactly when it's going to be released. It'll probably be in the next couple of weeks. It'll be over on Ghost Hack. I'll probably deliver it today or tomorrow, something like that. Need to make a demo for it, and then it's done. Other than that, we're just talking. We try to set Mondays aside for just random chatter, ask me anything kind of stuff, so... Is this one? Void Fusillade. Gravity Snare. A Breach. Let's use that one. Talk about abstract. How about a Void Implosion on this guy? Feels right. Gotta love those sounds that are some sort of a discharge of some kind, but it sounds like an implosion. It's great. Great effect. Great. What about a shock javelin for that one? That one feels like it's got some electric quality to it. I think we're going to make that a shock javelin here. Oh, that's a tiny little guy. Let's get... I had a couple of darts in here. Do we have any more darts? Pulsar dagger. Do that one. Oh man, a 6-hour commute. STP says, OhmLab, I thought you were taking the week off of streaming. Glad to see you today. Hope all is well. It's Wednesday and Friday that I won't be streaming this week. Y'all know Evans the Bard, right? Fantastic streamer on Twitch. Has the welcome glass bell and writes incredible fantasy epics and stuff. You know the guys, right? All right. So we got the kiddos together yesterday because he's in Portland out here. And we got the kiddos together yesterday in a cool little spot and watched them become fast friends and make art together. Really fun. Really fun seeing a couple of streaming families come together. Yeah, today was a stream day. That's what you get. That's what you get for following someone that never updates the streaming calendar or never does any kind of marketing of any kind around any of the streams. That's just what you get. Yeah, we did. We met up and it was a good time, and we will again at some point. I feel like it's an inevitability that there will probably be some sort of collaboration there at some point. So yeah, there is a community manager need for sure. Where's Nano when you need him? He's selling car insurance or something. Eisen Leonard, no, not today. We're not doing feedback today, but if you want to bring it back, we can do it next week for you on Friday when we are back. Doing feedback this week here. Yeah, that's right, man. That's right. Since says Bro sends the smoke signals to let us know when stream goes live. No one ever finds out till the end. Wasn't my fault, man. The wind didn't shift your direction, man. Live on a hill, dude. Live on a hill. Javar says, so when you two set up a play date, it means playing pianos. Well, you know, if he could teach me how to play a piano, maybe, but I don't play piano. Like, I've had a piano around me my whole life. I don't play piano though. I bang on things, man. That's what I do. Ooh. Now that one, I like the little wind up there. I don't like any of those options, but I do like the word volt for this one. So what if it's a volt dart? Did I already use a volt dart? I don't think so. No, let's do that. Let's do a volt dart. This one's got a little sizzle to it. Okay, now that is oh, that's because I clicked on burst. I was like, that one's definitely a burst. I'm doing one shots right now. Let's stick to this right now. Javar, the kids are like, I thought you meant play on the swings. No time for that. Get back to your scales. You need a watchtower. Zendremic, you need a watchtower. This is the perfect situation for a watchtower, sir. Can I interest you in a watchtower? You know, whenever I'm lost in Hyrule, I climb up one of those towers and I look around. That's what I do. Does it come with central heating? Yeah. Yes, and the ability to spot smoke signals. So, I mean, it has pretty much everything you need. I feel like I've come undone. I'm going off the rails at this point. Oh, that's why. I just looked up at the clock. It's actually after 1 p.m. here. Oh, no. I, at some point, deleted the name of a file up here somehow. What is it? And why did it stay right there? It still has a name here. Whoa, look at this. This still has a name up here. Can I grab it from up here? I've never seen this bug in the Finder before. This is showing us a blank Finder in the list, but here it has its name. That's so weird. Can I do this? Can I get info on this? It still has a name and get info, so I can just copy it here. Go in here and rename. Weird. It's probably yeah, it's probably a sign that I should cash out. Yeah. STP says, Watchtower mentioned. Queue up some Hendrix. Zen says, he's handing in an official application for the Watchtower job. Icon has AC and cats? Because that'd be perfect. Right. Get back to your G3. Can we at least stick with the G5? Yeah. OS9 for the win. Oh, man. Those low-res icons. The Finder smile back then. Epic. It was a big smile. All right. We have stopped making sense. And we've stopped being productive. Yep, still managed by eMagic. Absolutely. Yeah. When they brought it over, that's when I started working with Logic, really. Well, I mean, with the, like, running the user groups and stuff, anyway. Memories. Getting all nostalgic here. All right, so what am I going to do here? I'm going to come over here. I'm going to refresh this. Ooh, so it's the Windows version of Logic on the CD-ROM set. Nice. Nice. All right. All right, I'm going to be responsible. I'm going to go into super hyper productive mode here for a little bit and then go pick up the kid from school, which means I need to kick you guys to the curb. I'll slow down the car before I kick you out. Don't worry. What are we doing here? Oh, speaking of Minecraft, Less Than Perfect DJ, who comes in and raids us every once in a while with a small crew, we're going to go raid them with a small crew and see what they're doing in Minecraft. How about that? It's like it was meant to be. I appreciate you guys. And I will see you guys in a week. No stream Wednesday or Friday. So until then, stay inspired, play nicely, all that good stuff. And I'll see you on the float. You guys are awesome. Appreciate you. Peace out.